that till now, what we had heard was shell companies where you park your ill-gotten wealth. Now
Right.
we are seeing shell parties where you park your ill-gotten MLAs or MPs, And that's exactly what has happened in the case of Trinamool. See, it is not Congress Mukt Bharat or it is not opposition Mukt Bharat. What the whole system is moving towards is a single party rule, the Chinese system. The Congress party has to run a mother's kitchen. If
Well
a
said.
partner, if a partner is a trifle weak and another is a trifle better, you assign them different tasks.
Hello and welcome to the Federal. You're watching Conversations with Nilanjan. In 2014, when Prime Minister Modi came to the office for the first time, one of his principal political slogans at that time was to make India Congress Mukt Bharat, which means that an India where there would be no sign or trace of the Congress. Well, that didn't happen, even though the Congress got decimated. Till in 2024, the Congress did much better than the previous two elections, but still they couldn't cross the magical three-figure mark, remaining very tantalizingly at 99 in the 2004 Lok Sabha tally of the Congress. Well, at the moment, for the last few weeks, we are seeing a new phase of very aggressive politics from the side of the BJP and the government, which is to make the country opposition Mukt Bharat, which means a country where there is going to be virtually no sign of the opposition. Now, if this was being done through fair electoral means, one would not dispute the tactics. But here, what is happening is that there are a very concerted effort to break various parties. We have seen Trinamool Congress, what has happened to it. We have seen what has happened to the Shiv Sena, and we are also listening to a very steady buzz that the destruction army of the BJP is working quietly in Uttar Pradesh against the Samajwadi party to break it up. On the other side, to cope with this, there have been various moves in the opposition, kind of a coming together. There is also this large buzz, that one loud buzz that we are hearing, that there is a possibility of a great grand reunion, or rather a reunification of the Congress factions. Those leaders who left the party sometime 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, even maybe 30 years or so earlier, went on to set up their regional parties, all now face biting the dust because of the BJP, now willing to come back. We will be looking at whether this is a feasible idea, whether this is a good idea, where does it leave opposition politics, all that with a very veteran political journalist and observer, somebody with a very fine contacts across the board, Vinod Sharma, who has been the political editor of Hindustan Times, a very long time colleague. Uh, Welcome to this program, Vinod. It's really
Thank you,
wonderful to
Nila.
have you on the show.
Thank you, Nilanjan.
Well, let me begin with this idea of the grand homecoming that everybody is talking about from the TMC, from the NCP, the Sharad Pawar faction, the even the YSRCP, uh, all those factions getting together and coming back into the Congress. Now, homecoming into Congress is not a very new phenomenon. It has happened in the past, although not maybe in such large numbers. We've had things like parties like Tamil Manila Congress coming back at time. Sharad Pawar, for instance, left in 78, came back after a few years, then again in 98 left, went on to form the NCP. We've had various kind of examples. At the moment, do you think that while the talk of a grand union sounds very ideologically neat on paper, but does it work logistically? Does it remain purely a piece of political posturing, or is it really an imminent reality? That's what you're picking up from the ground.
I don't see it as an imminent reality, though it's a good idea. Like as there's an old saying that let all good men and not so good men come to the aid of the party. Now, This is what we used to learn. We used to type when we used to start learn typing. When we used to type this, all the alphabets are there in this sentence. But unfortunately, I wonder whether this so-called grand reunion will have all the alphabets uh, as we see them across the political spectrum. Uh, you know, Over the years, these smaller parties have started treating their support base as a fiefdom. These are
Mhm.
parties which thought that in a divided polity, their purpose is better served if they stay alone or independent without being part of a big political party. And one example of that is the NDA itself. Smaller parties, but bigger presence at the center and also in other walks of political life. So I think that it's an idea which is a good idea, but I wonder whether somebody can do it. It's not an easily doable idea. One saw it happening post elections, if you remember, when the UPA was formed. And it wasn't done by the Congress alone. There were other seasoned politicians
You are referring
who
to
could.
2004.
Yes, that's right.
After,
Uh, yeah, 2004, when people like Hari Surjit and others were active, and they brought Mulayam Singh on board. Mulayam Singh was forever very strong about keeping his identity, and he did keep his identity, and he was part of the government. Now, the question is that does the Congress party have the political wherewithal to bring these parties together under one umbrella? And does the Congress today have the gravitas, political gravitas, or promise? Let's choose this word. Does it, is it demonstrating the political promise to bring these parties together? I agree. I hear a lot of YouTubers now becoming cheerleaders of the Congress saying that, oh, now the ground is clear for Rahul to take over get accepted as the leader of the
of the
uh,
entire opposition.
of the entire opposition, and uh, others who did not accept him as a leader, they will accept him as a leader. For instance, Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee is no longer as important or as politically weighty as she was when she was the chief minister of West Bengal. And same thing applies to other political parties. This is, I think, a little premature assessment of the idea or situation, because Congress party has to first put its own house in order together, in fact. It has done some smart moves, wise moves recently, uh, by appointing the chief minister in Kerala, who was a legitimate claimant to the office, rather than appointing someone who was close to Rahul Gandhi. And it would have been a
Right.
disastrous idea. It would have been, the government would have been a non-starter in Kerala.
Right.
Likewise, in Karnataka, they have brought in PK
Leadership.
Shivkumar, and who was waiting in the wings. And it's a fact that when Siddaramaiah was made chief minister after the last assembly elections, there was a pact that they would be they would take turns as chief minister for 2.5 years each. But Siddaramaiah stayed for 3 years. I think that is good enough respect for his seniority in politics and his popular appeal in Karnataka as a legitimate inheritor of the Ahinda ideology of Devrajars. So I think that uh, uh, Karnataka issue was resolved amicably. So was Kerala issue. But let's see whether the Congress party is able to electorally retain Himachal Pradesh when elections are happening there. Whether it will be able to retain some of the states it has under its belt. I wonder, because you see, what happens is that Indira Gandhi's word was the writ in the
As far as
Congress, because
these state
because
parties,
she yeah
state units.
because yeah because she was the one who made the party win elections. Her name was a big draw for the people contesting elections under the Congress umbrella. That is not the case anymore. Rahul Gandhi is the Congress president, like his mother, in a very difficult time. But Sonia Gandhi could deliver, as Pranab Mukherjee once told me in a freewheeling conversation, that Sonia Gandhi can um, carries the day when she takes a decision, because generally or broadly, she's a consensus builder. Before a difficult big decision, she would speak to all the senior leaders
Different people, yes.
and in within the party, and then take a call. But once in a while, sporadically, when she took a unilateral decision from her end, it carried the day for the simple reason that mostly otherwise she was perceived as a consensus builder. So I think that Rahul Gandhi is yet to prove himself as the president of the Congress party. He's not the president anymore of the
Yes.
Congress party, but he is the de facto president of the Congress party. What works in politics is not de jure. What works is de facto. And he's the
Right.
de facto president of the Congress party. But is he willing to take credit for or take the disadvantage
Blame.
or to debate for his wrong decisions? If some of the decisions he has taken, for the simple reason that he is not upfront on many issues. And he leaves it to Kharge Saab or leaves it to others in the party to take the credit or take the blame. So he has to yet to evolve as a leader of the Congress, despite the fact that he's the sole voice against Modi's policies.
In
I would,
ideological terms.
in ideological terms and policy terms, yesterday's Kota rally was a good, impressive rally. But then it was not adequately publicized. It suddenly happened. And unfortunately, today, the mainstream media is not very responsive to what the Congress does. And many a times, their efforts on the ground don't get noticed by the people elsewhere. So that is a big problem this party has today in terms of communicating its actions, its decisions, and how active it is on the ground. Even in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, if you recall,
Yes.
in the initial phases, the media response was very tepid. It was
Very
tepid.
little. It was
As
only
the
after they crossed the Vindhyas that the
Yes,
media
yes,
started
they
giving it.
realized, oh, it is for real. Then they realized, oh, it is for real. And it was gaining traction on the ground. So I think that Congress party has to tie many loose ends. At the same time, it's a fact today that it is the only party which has kept its flock together at the center, which other political parties have not been able to do. This is the issue. And I think that Mamta Banerjee, I am doubtful whether even Mamta Banerjee would want to merge her party with the Congress party.
Right.
I have my doubts. So one has to take a call there. One has to take a count there, sorry, uh, as to how many people are willing to come back to the Congress. Whether Sharad Pawar, though he is in the twilight of his political career, whether he will be willing to see the merger of his party with that of the mother party in his lifetime. But then there are wheels within wheels, and one hears that Supriya Sule has gotten uh, become related to our serious RSS functionary through a matrimonial alliance in the family.
Right.
So there are many wheels within the wheels. I'm not sure whether this will happen. But if you ask me whether it should happen for the
Okay.
simple reason that the kind of political challenge these opposition parties are facing is very serious, Nilanjan, for the simple reason that till now, what we had heard was shell companies, shell companies
Okay.
uh, where you park your ill-gotten wealth.
Right.
Now we are seeing shell parties where you park your ill-gotten MLAs or MPs, And that's exactly what has happened in the case of Trinamool, the splinter group which has gone away. National Citizens Party, whatever. It is called
National
NC.
Citizens Party of
I know
India,
NCPI.
NCPI.
I
That is
know.
what?
But the point is that when I didn't recall the full name, it is only to suggest that it's a shell company, it's a shell party. It is not truly. It is a registered but not a recognized party. It is a party registered with the Election Commission of India, but not recognized.
Let
Now,
me ask you a question at this stage when you're talking about the Shell party, you're explaining that. It's a very hackneyed kind of a question if I ask you that has political moralism come down greatly. We are talking about, you have been exposed as a journalist to about more than 4 decades of Indian politics. So you have seen it all. That's what it is said. You have seen it virtually for a decade after the Ayaram Gayaram politics. From
yeah.
the mid 70s onwards, you have at
Hmm.
least, observed politics. In the last 12 years, do you see any further slide? Where exactly is political moralism? If you look at the fact that the BJP itself, which was considered to be an ideologically upright party, look at the number of chief ministers who have defected from other political parties. You can start from the northeast and you can go all across the country. The entire list can be provided at any point of time. What does it really indicate?
You know, if you become a tax-free heaven, people will come and park themselves there. They'll park their
Okay.
wealth there. Now, here we are discussing the political wealth, which easily translates to power in a divided polity. And that's what is happening. You've asked me a fundamental question that whether I have seen such a steep slide in public life over the past 40 years and more. No, I haven't seen it. I saw it when I came into the profession. It was the emergency period,
Hmm.
and
That's right.
I was a research associate with the All India Radio. So I know what was going on there in the name of 20-point program and Rajiv Gandhi's,
Sanjay Gandhi's program.
Sanjay Gandhi's 7-point program. So we used to tabulate how much publicity has been given to these programs, even in film songs, even skit plays, and through skits, through plays in All India Radio. But I think that's the nature of the beast, which is called autocracy, and every party does it once in a while, and it is happening even in states ruled by the Congress today and the opposition today. But there are limits. There was something called Aankh ki sharam in politics that has gone, that has completely vanished. You see, you were talked about Prime Minister saying that Congress Mukt Bharat. Later, that statement was revised by the RSS, and now they don't repeat it often. But he also said some other things. When he entered Parliament for the first time, he spoke about Team India. He talked about cooperative federalism. Where are those
Right.
slogans? They were all false promises. They're just not there. Where is cooperative federalism today in our country, where states which are ruled by the opposition keep on protesting that they are not getting their share of the central taxes, which is legitimately their due. They are
Right.
not getting it, and in this manner, these governments are handicapped in extending to the people the kind of largesse which BJP is able to extend. Now, you see, we saw what happened in Bihar, where the elections were announced and then 10,000 rupees were transferred to the accounts of
The women,
voters, lady voters,
women
uh,
voters.
yes, women voters, and the opposition protested, but its voice was not carried far, for the simple reason that the media was totally tamed.
And also the Election Commission, I think.
And the election, you see, look at it. Look at the institutional capture that we are seeing. You see, you have badminton courts. You don't get judicial redressal there. Can you get judicial redressal in badminton courts? No, you can't get. And this is what we are seeing. I'm deliberately not using a word which would bring me within the ambit of not disrespecting the judiciary of this
That's
country.
right. I
So,
understand what you were indicating at the something that
uh,
happened in London at a few weeks
precise.
ago. Yes.
Precisely. So what I'm saying is the Election Commission of India, which is the constitutional entity, is totally embedded with the executive of the day.
And
Badminton courts are
so are sections of the judiciary that you are suggesting.
precisely, and it lets the executive play shuttle with law, so that the people who are looking for some relief from badminton courts don't get them. Similarly, you see the executive and the parliament and the offices, constitutional offices in parliament. We have seen what used to happen in the upper house when questions were raised by the opposition and the reply came from the chair.
Right.
Similarly, we see in the lower house the chairs being evidently partisan on more occasions than one.
True.
And nobody's conscience is troubled by all this. You see, it is not Congress Mukt Bharat or it is not opposition Mukt Bharat. What the whole system is moving towards is a single party rule. The Chinese system. You see, the BJP, ever since it came, you remember, they used to say our party will be the bigger than the party, Communist Party of China.
That's right.
They used
That
to
is
make
how
those statements.
they started that give a missed call campaign in
Precisely.
2015-16.
So Communist Party is bigger than Communist Party of China. Today they claim that we are bigger than the
On
Communist
paper,
Party
they
of
are the
China.
largest political party in the
Precisely,
world.
precisely.
That's what they
Yes,
say.
on paper, and most of the things in politics are on paper. A few of them
But
are in reality, and the
but
reality is that
within the
the,
legislature, this is what is actually also moving towards being on paper that they are the largest party within the legislature. The lawmakers, the majority of them now being of the BJP, either parliament or in the state legislatures.
now in this scenario, you have you see there are four pillars of democracy. We are told, taught there are four
Yes,
pillars of democracy. Yes, there are four pillars. What? Judiciary, the executive, the legislature, and the media.
that's right.
About the media, the less said, the better. Because the media, unfortunately, and it amounts to self-flagellation, but it's a fact that the media you see, there's a famous saying that in a country where there is no free media, there cannot be democracy. Democracy is sustained by criticism. It
Let
is not
me
weakened by criticism. And now the theory is being put on its head, saying that if you criticize, you are weakening the country, you are being anti-India. The political parties are masquerading as India. Like Devkant Barua once said, Indira is India and India is Indira. Now it is a everyday conduct. They're proving it by the everyday conduct by the ruling party and the executive, which is of the ruling party at the center. So what I am saying is that all principles have been abandoned. There is no limit to the pursuit of power. There is no limit to uh, retributive politics. There is no limit to to moves that are in fact aimed at destroying your rival rather than measuring up to him and competing with
okay.
him. These are all anti-democratic tendencies and traits which we are seeing.
Okay, let's get back to where we actually started from, talking about the prospect of coming together. We began with the idea of saying that coming together within the umbrella of after a grand reunion of the Congress umbrella, Congress becoming once again what was said when we entered journalism, it used to be the umbrella party, being able to hold up multiple ideological, opinion within the party. That is what the Congress was at one time. But let's talk about the India alliance, which had actually been defunct. But after the assembly elections, once again, some energy was put into it. A meeting was convened. Now, within the context of this talk of reviving the India platform, moving towards some kind of a grand reunion, what do you think would be a better option? A formal, structured merger where the regional heavyweights get certain amount of respect to come and operate within a structure, or would it be some kind? Would you say that it would be more feasible for it to be some kind of a loose confederation kind of a structure, an umbrella kind of a party? What would be better?
You snatched the expression from my mouth. Confederation. You see, the Congress party was the party that governed India for so long for the simple reason that it was the first party, it was the first coalition that came to power in India. It was always an implicit coalition of ideas.
Okay.
It fell on bad days when it ceased to be an implicit coalition of ideas. And this was admitted by Sonia Gandhi herself at one of these media events, where she said that we are perceived as a party of the Muslims.
That's right.
Now, the point is that when this charge is leveled at the Congress party, I find it very odd and ironical, Nilanjan,
Hmm.
because my respect for Atal Bihari Vajpayee was always there and remained a constant, despite the fact that he was a member, a leader of the BJP, with whose ideology I did not agree at all, one bit. That in 1984, he kept the secular character of the Indian vote intact by campaigning openly for the Sikh vote.
Hmm.
His party got reduced to two, but he kept the flag of democracy flying high, electoral democracy flying high. That was the value of the man called Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now, today, if one party is being accused of being a Muslim party,
Hmm.
I remember there was a meeting of the National Integration Council where Bhairav Singh Shekhawat and Chandrasekhar and VP Singh. VP Singh was Prime Minister at that time. And they were all present. And Bhairav Singh ji made certain statements about infiltration from the border, from the Pakistani side. And some of those statements were so formulated as to they did not sit well with people like Chandrasekhar, who was a great friend, a close friend of Bhairav Singh
Hmm.
Shekhawat. So he got up, he made an intervention, he sent a slip to the Prime Minister, which was VP Singh. And VP Singh showed a lot of deference and regard for Chandrasekhar, and he asked him to speak. And Chandrasekhar said, मैं बोलना तो नहीं चाहता था, पर मेरे मित्र भैरव सिंह जी ने कुछ ऐसी बातें कही हैं जिसका दूसरा पहलू दिखाना बहुत जरूरी है.
Hmm.
And where he said that when India was divided and Pakistan got created, many Muslims opted for Pakistan. And in that process, much of the leadership of the Muslims
Moved away there.
migrated to that country. And he said, today, it is our responsibility not just to take care of their interests, but also provide them the leadership.
Right.
That is the non-Muslim minority, majority should provide them the leadership. And frankly, Nilanjan, when the Babri Masjid was demolished here, the disputed structure was demolished here, that Babri Masjid became a disputed structure. That was the
Yes.
kind of nomenclature, that was the magic that happened, was weaved by the BJP and its supporters. So, I mean, it is just an incident I must recall to you. And I used to be posted in Pakistan at that time, and we heard
Yes.
about that demolition. Next morning, we thought, I and a colleague of mine, Sujit Chatterjee of the PTI, we went to the High Commission to pick up our newspapers and to pick up our letters and all that. It used to come in the diplomatic bag. Uh,
Right.
and we were standing, we got out of the car, and Liaquat Baloch, the parliamentary party leader of Jamaat-e-Islami was standing at the gates of Indian High Commission. And he looked at me and he says, "Kya karwa diya Sharma?" I used to know him. I used to banter about with him about uh,
Quite right.
whether there should be a dialogue between Jamaat-e-Islami and PPP or not, like whether there should be a dialogue between the Congress and the BJP or not, that kind of stuff, you know. So I said, Liaquat bhai, jo hua hai uske paas, I have no moral uh, gravitas to answer that question to you today. But you must know, it is not Hindu-Muslim question. It is secular, non-secular India ka ladai hai ye. This is a struggle between secular and non-secular
Secular
India.
forces and the non-secular forces.
Yes.
Okay.
Now he said, क्या बकवास कर रहे हैं? सेकुलरिज्म तो गाली है उनके लिए. वो सेकुलरिज्म सबसे उतने ही नाराज
No,
होते हैं
because
जितने
because
हमारे
it's a
लोग होते
state
हैं.
which is founded on a religion.
Yes,
They
their state
opted
is
for that.
based on religion.
Yeah,
And their state is based on religion. And the political parties whose politics is based on the religion, they also don't like this word secularism. Now, I said, क्या बात करते हैं आप? जरा मेरे मुल्क की तरफ मुंह उठा के देखिए. I told him. और आप मुझे बता दीजिए कि कौन ऐसी मुस्लिम नेता है who has the trust of the Muslim majority, Muslim population in my country. Muslim population in my country reposes trust in non-Muslim leadership. And then I took the name of Mulayam Singh Yadav, and even those days, KP Unnikrishnan and Chandrasekhar, and I took these names, you know. And Liaquat Baloch had no answer. And the same question I once asked when OIC Saab was who says that, who's uh,
You're
who
talking about
has
Salahuddin Owaisi, father of
no
Asaduddin Shah.
father, son
Son. Okay.
Asaduddin Owaisi. He in a media interaction organized in one of the media shows, and he said कि हमने तो जूते पे नोक पे रखा जिन्ना की टू नेशन थ्योरी को, और हम तो नहीं गए, हम यहीं रहेंगे, हमारा मुल्क है. I respect his sentiment, but I said, when you are creating a party of just the Muslims, aren't you helping Jinnah's two nation theory? He was very upset. He
No,
was
there
very
is
upset.
definitely a point, that yes. So it is not a crime. What you are really coming to is that when Sonia Gandhi said, almost in a kind of self-defeatism, I remember that statement because I commented and wrote on it at that point. I think that she was unduly being defensive. She should have
It
actually
was
been
a
extremely
badge.
proud of the fact that
Yeah,
the
it was
Congress,
a badge the Congress party should have won with honor,
yes,
because that was true to the spirit of our constitution. That was true to the foundational principles of the Congress party.
yes,
You
that
see,
is true, being true to the dream that India dreamt for itself at partition.
because the Congress party was the party that came out of the freedom struggle. It,
Unlike the
in many ways,
BJP, which
in
did
many
not come
ways,
out from that.
yes, in many ways, it epitomized those values. And those values, it has somewhere along the way, it has forgotten those values. It has become, in my view, I'm sorry to say, I stand to be corrected if other people have better examples or better arguments to offer, that I feel that Congress party somewhere along the way is forgetting its own foundational principles because it is becoming very diffident on the Muslim question. It should not. I do not think that Congress should be diffident on the Muslim question. Like, though there is a lot of difference between Akhilesh and his father Mulayam Singh, because Mulayam Singh was a secular fundamentalist. You see,
But Akhilesh
and
is a
you
bit more pragmatist. Is this
is
what you are saying?
precisely that he's a little more, he's a mellowed version of his father, which is the right kind of a mix we need in our politics. You don't have to be a secular fundamentalist to fight fundamentalism. You have to be a true secularist in a very moderate sense of the term in order to be all embracing. You should say that we treat people on the basis not of their religion but their citizenship status.
You referred to Akhilesh Yadav. In fact, you have taken me to what I wanted to discuss with you in this conversation with you. Uh, we are now very close to the next assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh. In the 2024 elections, the BJP was down to 240, partly because of the massive reverses it suffered in Uttar Pradesh, where the alliance of the Samajwadi Party and the Congress, did real wonders and were able to get more than 35 seats. 37 or 38,
Mm.
I think, was the total number eventually. Bringing down the Congress number by more than half. With the assembly elections so close, and given the kind of disarray which has been there in the post 24 uh, period, do you think that the Congress and Samajwadi Party have the wherewithal to be able to repeat a 2024, or is it going to be another repeat of the 2022 elections when the BJP did exceedingly well?
You see, 2024 happened because they got the right slogan. And BJP, in its complacency, walked into their trap. BJP said, Ab ki baar 400 par.
Okay,
And they said, this is a conspiracy. They want to abandon the constitution, which provides people of so many communities rights. They want to snatch
that's
away
right.
those rights. And that
The
is social
Red Book of
justice.
Rahul Gandhi became the symbol of their
Yes,
campaign.
precisely. And Rahul Gandhi would go around holding the copy of the constitution. And the BJP people were left to cribbing, oh, this the cover of this constitution is red and all that. They want to show it as a red book or all that. But that did not work with the people because people understood कि जो उनको मिला है वो संविधान के तहत मिला हुआ है. Constitution का value जता दिया. You see, that was an investment, that was a good turn that these parties did for all times to come to, to force the ruling party to at least keep the pretense of following the constitution.
Right.
Now, the problem today is that they should, I wonder whether they would be able to carry forward this narrative which they had until 2024, that now they want to destroy the constitution. They want to just not, they want to destroy the multi-party structure that we have in this country.
Right.
The multi-party structure, which is the raison d'etre of any democracy, because it gives people the choices that they may exercise. And they are trying to limit and constrict the choices of the people by reducing the number of political parties.
Right.
This is BJP is a party right from its Janasangh days, is a party which is a kind of a Bikram Betal scenario. Bikram Betal, because they were always looking for, they were the Betal which always were looking for Bikrams, जिसके कंधे पे सवार होके और वो लोग प्रोग्रेस करते थे. और जिस जिनके कंधे पे वो सवार हुए, all those they mounted, they destroyed them. I mean, look at the Janta Dal, look at Janta Dal United, look at Janta Dal Secular. Where are these parties? And these were these bulwark of social justice against BJP's temple movement.
Right.
VP Singh used to say, मंडल कमंडल को तोड़ के बाहर निकल आएगा. कुछ समय तक हुआ, but then eventually they have managed to tame these forces. They have managed to buy them out. They have
And
managed to
even
scare them.
even socially, they have been able to forge some kind of a social unity within Hindu community, cutting across caste lines.
That is
They have
true.
worked at it. They have worked on it
That is
strongly.
that is true, but they have done it largely through SOPs. I mean,
Right.
they have bought them out
Yes.
indirectly. Some leaders have been bought directly. The supporters have been bought out indirectly. On the eve of elections, the Election Commission, the Honorable Election Commission, watches in silence and they distribute money. Cash is transferred online to the beneficiaries.
Yes, yes, we were
And
talking about that in the context of Bihar.
precisely, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So the constitutional structure and the institutions which are there to protect constitution and what is written there, letter and spirit of the constitution, those institutions have been hugely subverted. And they've invited in there and they have appointed people they're yes men in these institutions, uh, who are even more proficient in being the cheerleaders of the ruling party than even the Congress days during the emergency.
So coming back to what may lie ahead, with
Hmm.
the Uttar Pradesh elections on the horizon, just within a few months, for all we know, it may be advanced to later this year because
Yes, yes,
the
yeah,
winter
yeah,
months,
because of the census,
because
census.
of census as well as Kumbh Mela in Haridwar. So it is going to
Yeah,
keep both personnel and security staff busy at that particular time. May not be
president.
feasible to have the elections in February and March.
This is
Do
true.
you think that this elections provides an opportunity to the opposition parties, especially the Congress and Samajwadi Party, to take the lead and to begin the process of some kind of a coalescing of the opposition parties before the 2029 Lok Sabha elections?
That should be a good trigger. That's a good starting point. For the simple reason, the relationship, despite their share of tensions between the Samajwadi and the Congress, it is relatively more robust than the Congress relationship with other political parties, especially its relationship with the TMC in the run-up to the elections, where they didn't have an alliance, and in the end, everybody has lost. Everybody has lost,
Yes.
and the BJP
Only
has
the
won.
BJP has won.
BJP has won, and they have lost, and the constitution is lost. For the
That's
simple
right.
reason that the Election Commission of India shamelessly went about promoting the interests of the BJP, and history will judge them. We needn't say more. History will surely judge them as one election commission which presided over an election, uh, the sole aim of which was to make a political party win and not help the people elect the party of their choice. It is largely believed by most people, and I think that even the BJP people must be believing it
In
in
their
their
deep
hearts and
down, in their
minds.
hearts, a large number of people
Obviously,
would be
they know
feeling.
that. You see, and look at this. What is it that today we are seeing that Mr. Suvendu Adhikari, Mr. Hemant Biswa Sarma, they're not paragons of virtues. They were taken on by the BJP themselves for
Yes.
graft. They were accused of graft. They were accused of all other things. And once they joined their party, they have become their favorites. They made them chief ministers. The, the question is that is there going to be an accountability for this or not in a democracy? And who would make people accountable in a democracy, people in power accountable in a democracy? It's the job of the judiciary. And the judiciary, in this case, in the instant case, said that those who have not been able to vote this time, they can vote the next time. About 24 lakh, and the
That's right.
numbers are varied if you add and subtract various other varieties of voters. The numbers at least are, there is a broad consensus, 24 lakh people were under, they were still under
And
adjudication.
still, those matters have to be adjudicated. It is,
Precisely there, yeah,
but
they are being
nothing is to be done.
adjudicated. You see, they are being adjudicated, and not one, not two. There were 5, 6 former chief election commissioners and election commissioners who questioned this modus operandi
That's right.
of the present election commission of India, and the BJP and the Supreme Court of India, which is the apex court of India, has not done anything to correct those aberrations.
No, eventually it's SIR judgment. Many people are extremely critical of the judgment, saying that this virtually slams the door on multi-party,
No, you see the question
democracy,
is
and
what
also
what
most
what
importantly, curating an electoral role. That is the
precise,
biggest charge.
Nilanjan. But one thing,
Spent.
may say one thing. You see, SIR, they said SIR was valid. That's the word used by the Supreme Court of
Supreme
India.
Court.
SIR was valid. Who questioned that? We were questioning the integrity of the process.
That's
Was
right.
that valid? Was the process honest? That was the question the people were asking. So I think that, you see, there's a litany of failures on the part of various institutions. And one is saying this with all regard for these institutions, because one has grown up seeing these institutions delivering justice. These very institutions, the judiciary, it was the judiciary which disqualified Indira Gandhi.
Right.
Wasn't it the judiciary who disqualified Indira Gandhi? The
And this
question
is the
is,
one which gave the judgment on the Keshavananda Bharti case,
Bharti
that
case,
the
yes,
basic structure of the constitution shall be
can't be tinkered
maintained
with. And the head count of MLAs has to be done on the floor of the house,
of the
not
house.
in the
Exactly.
not at the governor's residence. So
That's right.
they have delivered milestone judgments. And they have a history, but they are giving that history a short strife. They are careless towards their own history. And am telling you that the new history which is now getting created is not going to be something which you would stop from teaching people in the school, in the school textbooks. You stop. You wanted a textbook to be revised because it said that there was problems with the judiciary, and now you are so evidently doing things which will make people say that and cite them as examples of there being problems in the judiciary.
Well,
That's
we
what I'm
hope,
saying.
Vinod Sharma, we hope that the people say that these are not the textbooks that we want. These are the textbooks which we want, and that the people start writing textbooks of their own, and impose it during elections. Well, we have run out of time, and we have covered a wide spectrum of issues, starting with the issue of whether the feasibility is there of a great grand reunion, something about which you are very skeptical about, but you do say that the forthcoming elections in Uttar Pradesh, assembly elections in
No,
Uttar
but
Pradesh, should provide the template for coming closer and working together of the opposition parties. Yes, please, you wanted to make a last
you
comment.
see, the players, the protagonists, so to speak, will have to rise above self-interest. If the situation requires that you subsume your entity into that of another party in order to strengthen democracy, in order to strengthen people's rights, in order to effect a change of government that you want, you see, then you have to do it, because the BJP wants a permanent majority in this country.
That's right.
And that permanent majority, they have progressed a lot towards that goal. They have to be stopped in their tracks.
Well, those who think of merging into the Congress, they have to subsume their identities. And I think the leaders within the Congress will also have to be large hearted to be
Yes,
able to
precisely.
provide space to everybody, and not allow anybody to feel very
BJP,
suffocated in the entire.
the Congress party has to run a mother's kitchen. If
Well
a
said.
partner, if a partner is a trifle weak and another is a trifle better, you assign them different tasks. But while at the dinner table, serve them the equal meal. That is the principle of a mother's kitchen.
Well said, and thank you very much that the Congress has to run a mother's kitchen. Very well said. Thank you so much, Vinod Sharma,
Thank
for
you.
joining me on this very vast 180-degree conversation.
Thank you, Nilanjan. Good talking to you.